Hello, Unscripted, and welcome yet to another episode on my channel. I'm GladysNyambura, Unscripted, and if you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel so you can watch this video till the end and also get a notification every time that I post a new and amazing video. Guess what? I've uploaded 193 other videos in the past, and you can see just how hard we work over here. So, on today's topic, this is a not so common topic that I'm going to discuss today, and I'm just going to air out my views. And if you have any other opinion regarding this topic, please do let me know in the comment section. If you do have like an experience about what I'm going to talk about, do let me know. And yeah, let's begin. So the topic of today is genophobia. So what is genophobia? Genophobia is, simply put, the fear of sexual relations. Yeah. There are people in this world that fear the whole process or the whole idea of sex, simply put. Now there are so many causes of genophobia, and the ones that I'm going to mention are not just limited to. However, we have like the physical causes, and then we have the psychological causes, and it's quite common that we maybe probably have come across a post or maybe a scene on the news about some of the physical causes of genophobia. For example, regarding the physical, we have something like rape, we have molestation, we have something like what could it be? Basically anything physical that is causing trauma in your life right now. For example, we have people who have body image problems, maybe because of lack of self confidence, like lack of maybe low self-esteem. And I mean, like, there are so many causes as to why someone would have like a physical cause for genophobia. And then when we jump to something like the psychological causes of genophobia, we have something like what can I say? There are people that are really there are also like fears that you do not know where they come from. And these are like probably like things that you've maybe made up in your mind, maybe based off of an experience. And also we have something like nosophobia, which is a psychological cause of genophobia. Nosophobia is basically the fear of contracting diseases and probably viruses, and I feel like this is contributed to the fact that there's just a lot of stigma around some diseases in this world, and so someone could really be scared of engaging in sexual relations just because they do not want to contract a certain disease or a certain virus. And we also have gymnophobia, which is the fear of nudity. And let me just mention that when I was thinking about gymnophobia, like the fear of nudity, growing up as way before I got to like my teenage years, I used to have that really much. And I don't know if this is it exactly. Do let me know what you think about genophobia. But as a young child, you don't really want someone, you don't know what's going on in your life, and you're so innocent about everything happening in the world. And so, but a part of you knows that someone seeing you naked is wrong. Am I making sense? And so growing up as a child, probably when someone walked in on you like dressing up, apart from maybe your mom or maybe your dad, it just depends on how close you are with your relatives and stuff like that. But personally, when I was growing up, I'd not let anyone see me in my nude. And when I talk about with regards to genophobia, I feel like it cuts across, like it's not really like limited to adults only, because there are also like children that undergo this kind of what's it called, this kind of fear based off of maybe past traumas, and maybe like in the, not to like, oh my god, I really do not like talking about these things, but in the case of pedophiles, I mean, like, as a child you do not know what is happening to you, but if you're caught up in a situation with a pedo, you know that you're not supposed to be in that situation. You're not it's like just a part of you, it's like your intuition tells you like you're not supposed to be in that situation. And when a pedo is doing whatever they're doing to as a child, the child knows, and they're scared, they're afraid. And I feel like also genophobia cuts across all ages, up until even to like the elderly people, because as an elderly person, you do not have the strength, or you do not have the muscle to like fight back, or maybe not even, and this is not just limited to rape, this is, you don't have like the muscle to like, engage in the, in the same way that you are engaging in sexual relations as a teenager, or maybe as a youth. And so when I talk about gymnophobia, like the fear of nudity, there are people that are not, starting from children, there are people that are scared, like literally scared of getting naked in front of someone. It could be, I believe there are so many causes, including self-image, including traumas in the past, and basically any other unknown reason that one could have. And also, regarding the psychological causes of genophobia, um I wouldn't really limit it to like the reasons that I know, but I'd like to also mention that regarding the psychological causes, there's also like the fear of being touched. And I mean, like, there are so many causes of that, but let me just mention like an experience that I would like to like mention, like share with you. In one of my videos, I must have mentioned that one of the ways that I like my partner to show me that they love me is by, body contact, no, like touch. Basically, touch, physical touch is also like one of the ways that I like my partner to show me that they love me. Like that is a very, what can I say, that is one of the things that I really really do treasure. And also, I'm also like big on words of affirmation. And so let me just mention that I am very very scared of touch. I'm literally scared of touch. And the reason I'm talking about genophobia today is because I am also, can I say, a victim of, I don't want to say a victim, but I also happen to just have the phobia of sexual relations. And this is something that, this is the first time, sort of the first time like I'm mentioning this, and it's gathered me, like it's taken me so much time to gather the courage to like share something as private as this. And so I'm very very scared of touch. And so for me, because simply it's my love language. Oh my god, let me just dive into I'll dive into something else later on. I don't want I would like to call it pretty privilege, but I don't know the opposite of pretty privilege. Now let me just talk about touch. To me, I don't know to what extreme my fear of touch is, because some ladies have the same fear, but personally I just cannot stand someone touching me. I would rather walk around carrying what are they called, wipes. And it's not because when someone touches me I feel like they've they've left me with bacteria or germs. not something like that, not like that. I just cannot stand when someone touches me. And I've tried to explain this to like several people. One was a man, some are ladies, and I always try and get to like explain this to them and see what they think. Do they like, can they relate, and do you know, when someone touches like my arm, I feel sexually harassed. I feel assaulted. And in the past, it was so bad to an extent. If like every time a stranger, like there's that accidental touch where maybe someone is just passing and then they touch you a little, or maybe it's just a part and then they pass. But then there's the intentional kind of touching someone that I always feel like is assault to me. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but especially while using public transportation, and this is, among other things, this is one of the things that contribute to my nature of being introverted. Not that I don't want to get out there, I do, but the mode of transportation is what is limiting to me. Like, it's like in 2022, okay, well, yeah, in 2022, I was making a prayer to God and I was telling him, hi dad, you know what, I really need a car, because I wanted to experience the world. I wanted to like go on road trips and things like that, but then I did not want to like meet people, not really meet people. I did not want someone mishandling me. I don't really enjoy the whole hassle of using public transportation. And so most of the times when I'm traveling, when I'm going to like a different county in my country, I have a tendency to use an Uber, which is so expensive, or maybe like a motorbike, and that is also equally expensive. And so when you have money as a limiting factor, that could really piss you off. And it's the same case with me. So with public transportation, there are touts. There are also people that don't understand that you don't like being touched. I know if you are watching this and you are Kenyan, you understand the word kamagera. Kamagera are simply people that help the tout and the driver to attract customers in their vehicle. Now, these people are always in a competition because there are so many vehicles. Like you could find like there are like 4 buses or 3 buses, and all these people are fighting for you to get in their mode of transportation. And I'm not against entrepreneurs, but I'm just so against people harassing me, like someone touching my some like, you see, it's enough when someone is touching my palm, especially if I've offered it to you. For me, that's okay. And there's also this thing where someone, have you ever like experienced someone, when you greet them like this, they fold their fingers and then it's like they give you like a scratch in your palm. This is something else that I find to be sexual harassment, and it's so annoying. It pisses me off. I mean, because for starters, this is very suggestive. From where I come from, it means that I want to sleep with you. I want to have sex with you. And to me, given that I have fear, like that fear, I have that phobia of sex, can you imagine when you do this to me and you are a total stranger? Can you imagine when someone does that to you? And so, to me, public transportation is always a nightmare. And I just keep working hard and hard. I know it gets hard like every day, but I just keep praying to God to like lighten the burden in my life, such that very soon I'm going to like afford. Oh, there's this bike that I saw. on the website of Kai and Carol. This is not even like a promo or anything. I saw the bike and it cost 200 G's, 200,000 Kenya shillings, and I just wished I had that. It looks like a scooter, but it's a proper bike. And I was like, oh my God, just give me money to buy this thing. Why? Because I could use this to run all my errands, go to places. Even if I got like a corporate job, I'd still use it as my transport. And funny enough, the amount of fuel that I could use on the bike is equivalent to the amount of money that individuals pay as bus fare to work every day from where I come from. Like it's the same. And so, oh my God, I don't know. For me, I could go on and on and on and talk about my frustrations with public transportation, and maybe like all this care about being touched. I mean, like, I could go on and on. But as a lady, I know you're watching this. I would like to hear what you have to say about these people, Kamagera people. And it's just unfortunate that most of them are men, and most of them are very, very rough, and most of them have no respect or regard for women. And do you know what I always get? Like, the response I always get when I tell these people that I don't like being touched, because I'm very straightforward with what I want. Every time I tell these people, for starters, let me just paint a scenario for you. So before I get to the bus stage, there's like from where I am, there's a main road, a tarmac road. Now on this other side of the road is where I stay. Like, there's a road like leading to so many places. Now I stay in one of those places. Now before I cross the road, I always take about 5 minutes to examine the situation at the stage. Do you know, lucky enough, there are actually some very understanding men. Because sometimes I'm just like standing there and I'm shaking because I'm just scared it's going to be the same old. And when I say there are some very good men, I mean, I've had like a situation not once where I'm just standing on this other side of the road, and one of the touts just comes and asks me respectfully, "Madam, I see you're staring at the vehicle. Do you intend to like go in this direction?" And I answered him and told him, "Yeah, I intend on going to town, now Nairobi town." And he was like, "So why don't you come and board?" And I told him, "I would like to, but I'm very scared. These guys are going to like sort of harass me. One is going to take my bag. The other one is going to like hold my hand. The other one is going to like touch me. And I'm just so scared of that. Like, I cannot stand it." And I just told him, all I need is peace of mind. Like, I just expressed to him and I told him I don't like being touched. That's all. And you know what this man did? He helped me cross the road. And then he announced, like, while in the middle of the road, he announced to like every other person that this lady does not like being touched, so don't touch her. And I've never felt protected. I've never felt safe in the presence of a man the same way I felt with that dude. And you know what he did? Well, of course, the other guys, because they're in competition, they did not listen to him. But do you know, he protected me from these guys touching me. He protected me from the rest of the touts and Kamageras touching me. And he led me to his bus and secured the front seat. So I simply sat next to the driver. And since I had like a bag, I told him, I'm going to put this bag here and I'm going to pay for the 2 seats. Why? Because I feared the next person that came and sat next to me would probably be a man, and they'd probably not behave accordingly. Keep in mind, when I'm walking out of my door, I always dress decently. Most of the times you'll find me in a black trouser and like a top, like a t-shirt that is up to here. A few times, probably when it's like extremely hot, is when you'll find me in a vest. But the trouser is always decent. And if I happen to have a vest on, like just to prevent the sun, like just to prevent like a similar situation, this is sunburn, and this is something that I have to heal from. It might take like several months. This is the first month. It's going to heal eventually, but to just prevent such situations from happening, I have to carry around a scarf. Because another thing I do not like is what can I say? Is showing my skin out there and maybe attracting predators. Which brings me to the so-called thing. There's this thing that I mentioned earlier, and I don't know if I can call it pretty privilege. I don't know how to call it. I don't know if I should call it pretty privilege or not. But still on the same topic of genophobia, let me just grab my mic. I feel like it's a bit too far away from me. I'm sort of used to like holding it like this and then talking. I don't even know like where to place it anymore. So, like regarding the whole issue of genophobia, and this is something that I feel like I need to like explore my past, because I don't understand why I have this phobia, yet there is not much to dig from my past, like my childhood. I don't know why. However, I feel like I need to see a therapist, or maybe a therapist. And I don't know how true this is, but I would like to maybe like visit my past and maybe see what happened, what maybe if something went wrong somewhere and why I have this phobia. I'd probably like that. If possible, if maybe hypnosis can work on me, I'd like to like visit that, whatever it is. You just never know. And so growing up, and this phobia of sex did not start with me when I was an adult. It started from when I was little. And I feel like you remember, like there's something that I said. When you're a child, you basically work with intuition, and it's heightened because you're a very innocent person, and you're innocent and you're genuine. And so if you feel as if something is wrong, it's definitely not wrong. So growing up, I think I was around the age of 9, or yeah, around the age of 9, there was this young man in my class. Now I want to mention something. When I was in primary school, I guess I was a bit lucky to have been in primary school and at the right age. When I was in primary school, and this is class 1 to 3. This is in class 2 or class 3. The then president of Kenya introduced free education in the country. And so what happened? Schools flooded. Yeah. The schools got flooded, and I was attending a public school, and I felt safer in the school because my uncle was the principal of the school. Now, when I was growing up, about the same time, so education systems, like the primary education system has been made free, and so the people or the children that could not afford school, all of them, like every parent that had a kid, it didn't matter how old the child was, all of them were forced to bring them to school. And it was also like an order from the chief. Back then, chiefs had like a say in the society, in the villages. So the chiefs communicated and they said that no parent should have a child at home. They should take them to school. And so this affected me in a way. Why? Because a class that I was in had like let's say 20 pupils, but then when these other children came to school, because now education was free, if like a class, like in my school, a class had over 60 pupils. And I want you to keep in mind that admissions were still ongoing. And I remember when I was in that school, I sat with a lady called Wanza, and she was very old. This is in 2003. I was a kid, like a child. I did not even know. I was even having difficulties with spelling. Now, this lady called Wanza came, like I used to sit with her. She was, I bet she was around 15, 16 years old. Yeah, 15, 16 years old. So we were on the same, like we were sitting on the same desk. So she was on my right side. I can vividly remember this. She was on my right side, and they put me in the middle because I was tiny. And then on this left side was a gentleman called Erastus. Yeah. Now, the amount of bullying that went on was just unimaginable. I was bullied by these two. And then, okay, yeah, Erastus was like 20 years old or something. Because he even like had beard. And so, can you imagine a 20-year-old in school meeting a grade 3 child and bullying them? So it turned out they were dating. And so every now and then they would touch each other, and who would end up receiving that kind of, harassment? Me. So I watched that. And it's to me, maybe that is where my genophobia comes from, but I doubt it, because maybe, let me not doubt it, but that is just a bit of it. Now, from that, later on, there are boys, let alone Erastus, that was sitting on my left side. There are other boys that were just coming to age, and who was the perfect girl to spot? The one that was in grade 3, the one that can be bullied. And so I remember one boy, his name was Amos. His name was Amos, and he was coming at me. And at one point, there was Amos, and then there was there's a word that rhymes with Erastus for boy. I can't, not Erastus. Let's call him Erastus B. I can't remember like his exact name. And I remember he started claiming that I was his girlfriend. And as a child, when someone claims that I'm their girlfriend, I felt so violated. A part of me did not know, I knew that being a boyfriend and a girlfriend was for older people. And then when you're a boyfriend and a girlfriend, later on, I knew you become wife and husband. And as a child, I was not ready for that. Deep down, I knew something was wrong. I knew. And so I remember when these two boys started claiming that I was their girlfriend, and then word got out and it reached me, I felt so violated. I felt some sort of assault. I felt my innocence was being taken away. And when I went home, I expressed my disgust with school. I expressed just how much I wasn't willing to go to back to that school the next day. And when I still went back to the same school, I felt as if I wasn't heard. Now, fast forward, and if you're a parent and you have a girl, I don't know the case of boys. If you have a girl in school that is maybe probably not up to the teenage years, and they feel threatened just because there's a kid in school claiming that they are their girlfriend, or the kid is their boyfriend, and you see a child is reacting in a certain way and they don't want that to happen, probably talk to that child instead of like embarrassing them. Because personally, I like the way, like the reception when I expressed that I did not want to go back to that school, and the fact that I felt some type of way, it's still trauma for me to date. It still is. Because I felt as if I should have been heard. But instead, when I expressed how I felt, when I said that I felt vibaya, like I just said I did not want to be his girlfriend, it's as if like how, and I've seen this several times. There are actually parents that laugh at children when they express their emotions. And I feel like that is the wrong way of approaching certain matters. In my case, I feel like the moment I say that there's a boy that is claiming to be my boyfriend, and then given the situation in that school, there were older children, right? This is a boy that is 15 years old, 16 years old, and he's claiming that his girlfriend. I'm like 9 years. I feel like, for me, I feel like I was very right to have felt violated and assaulted and harassed at the same time, and there was need for the school to like communicate something about being boyfriends and girlfriends in the school. There was just missing communication in all of that, and that is also like one of the things, if ever I have children, I intend to be a very intentional parent, a parent that is going to like bring the like I will bring like my children closer to me, explain things to them, because this like some of these things that I've been through, I would not want them to be in. And that is why I also like keep working hard, because I don't want my children to go through the same shit I went through while growing up. And I mean, like, if you don't come from a privileged family, you can totally understand where I'm coming from. Now, fast forward to when I was, this was in fast forward to like around when I was 15, when I was 15 years old. Now, about the age of, at 15, I'm a teenager. So when I started growing like boobies and stuff like that, and then pubic hair and all that, and then unfortunately also like we had just moved from that environment. And so when I came into this new environment, and I'm this young girl that is focused on school, and I had just started like growing boobs, and like like my body was forming. I even like had some hips. Basically, okay, the way you see me right now is how I've been for the longest time. Like I'm a short babe, and so you can imagine I've been like this since I was 18, 19, 20, like this, yeah. And so when I started growing some hips, when my calves started coming in, I have an ass, and then my face, well, my face did not receive puberty in the best way, but before my face broke out, I had like this, oh my god, this fair skin. I did not have a single spot. I did not have a pimple on my face. And so when I was in this new environment, I remember a dude approached me and he was very much interested in me. And oh my god, I just don't know. There's just something about meeting boys that makes me feel like I'm not safe. And this young man approaches me and I tell him, no. So when he approached me, and this is the thing that I have a problem with this thing. And as a man, I know you're watching me, and please, 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 you should be your sister's protector. And this is something that I wrestle with every single day. I have said this not once, but as a lady, and I've also talked to several of my friends on this. Before I leave my house, I'm always psychologically prepared that I'm walking out of my door and I'm just increasing my chances of being raped. So I walk out of my door every day knowing that I'm at a risk of being raped. That is why I have to look. That is why I have to look at the person in front of me and then I look at the person behind me. That is why I cannot walk on a lonely road. That is why I have to pretend like I'm making a phone call when I come across a man. That is why if I'm taking an Uber, I have to pretend like I'm calling my man. That is why when I come across a man that wants to talk to me and I'm with one of my girlfriends, I have to tell them, my man, my man. Like, every stranger I come across, every male stranger I come across is a threat to me. I always feel like I'm leaving my house every day with the mindset that I'm walking out of this with the risk of being raped. That is why I have to choose my rider. That is why I have to use one rider every day. Every time I walk out of my house. That is why I forgo many events. As a lady, the fear of being raped is why I have to pretend like my brother is my boyfriend. That is why if I come across men that do not look friendly to me, I have to pretend the kids I'm walking to the shop with are my children. Like, there are so many things that go on in a lady's mind the moment they're out of the house. And that's why for me, one of the things that I look for in a man is that sense of security. If I cannot feel safe around a man, it's just not going to work. Yeah. Oh my god, I can't even remember like where we were, like why, like what we were talking about now. So this young man talks to me and he goes like, he was actually very straightforward. He went straight to the point and he was like, I want you to be my girlfriend. And his name was Kelvin. Yeah. And you know what, like the fact that he came up very open about it and did not hesitate to like ask me out and stuff like that. And I've been this kind of a person, like in my household, I've been raised to be the kind of girl when I have a boyfriend, I introduce them home. Yeah. And well, that's that was a bit, that I came to realize it wasn't the right thing to do a bit late, because unfortunately, every time I introduced like not my man, like a boy I had met as my friend, like how people blow things out of proportion. For me, it was just like an innocent move, and so I tell Kelvin, "Hi, Kelvin, I want you to come to my home." And so I introduced Kelvin to everyone. And I guess he did not like that because he wanted me to be his girlfriend, but then it's like he did not want people knowing. And so I saw something weird about it. But then, whenever I was around Kelvin, I felt very safe. Well, I did not even know like what the meaning of him asking me to be his girlfriend was. And so to me, I was treating him more of a friend. And fortunately or unfortunately, he got a girlfriend, and so we started hanging out, the three of us. And I don't know, like it was just so cool. And I mean, like, children are so innocent. I was okay with that because Kelvin was he was giving me friends vibes, up until I'm walking on on the road on it was a very lonely path, and then this guy comes up to me. I had barely gone to, no, I was still in high school, yeah. And then he comes up to me, and then he's like, oh my god, I want Oh my, I don't want to. He was simply insinuating that he wants me to be his girlfriend, and I'm just simply in high school. I'm a little girl, like I'm a young girl, and he came close to me. Then there was actually a man in front of me. He was behind me, but then when this guy came up to me and then he was talking to me, the other man, like there was a man behind me, I had not seen him, but then he walked past us. And then I'm just going to say this in Swahili. He came up to me and then he was like, nakuhitaji. Nakuhitaji. Okay. About 15, 16, 17 years ago, Ongatarongai is not the place that it is right now. Back then, there were bushes, like it just looked like a place that wasn't going to like develop into any urban center. So there were bushes, there were rivers, people being carried away by rivers, cars, what. There were crocodiles. It was simply like an upcountry setting. And so when this man came out of nowhere in a bush, and he's like, there wasn't so much space in between us, and he was like, nakuhitaji. And the man looked like he was 30 something years, and I'm a high school kid. This is a lonely path. And the man that just walked past us looked decent. It's as if he had not come out of the bushes, He had like decent shoes, a decent a white shirt. He just looked neat. And when I did not know what to do in the situation where this man was just coming like closer to me and wanting to touch me, and he's just come out of nowhere. And so what I did was I screamed, because we are in a bush, like it's just a lonely path in the middle of a bush. Well, the trees were shorter. Like the path had like thickets. It's not really like so bushy, It's a bush, yes, but it's a scattered bush. And so I screamed, and when I screamed, this man ran back to his bush, and the man that was actually in front of me came and asked me what's going on. I told him I don't feel safe. And do you know, I could not walk. And this man was generous enough to actually ask me, where do you come from? This time I was just going to buy my, what are they called? My school stationery. And this man asked me, where do you come from? And he actually took me back home. I could not walk. I was shaking. And every single day I have to like live with the fear of, okay, why did I feel like I wasn't safe when that man was coming closer to me. And then where does this fear come from? Because for me, it's the fear of being raped. And I just have to question myself, where does it come from? And so, do you remember when I talked about pretty privilege? I don't know if I should I'm warranted to use the word pretty privilege in my case. Well, I believe I'm beautiful and all that, but I don't know if I'm warranted to use the word pretty privilege in this case, because way before, when I became a teenager, when I saw that there were men that were interested in me, I felt some type of way. I did not want that attention. I could not walk out of the compound and have less than 2 men approach me, and that is a whole lot for a teenage girl. I did not want attention. I did not want to draw attention from men, because I knew men are evil. Men rape women. Men do all sorts of things. Men beat up women. Men steal. All these negative things that you hear about men. I had all of those things. I had all those things in my mind. However, I had met some nice men in my life. But then I could not risk giving every other man a chance just to see which one is good and which one is bad. And so I remember I started dressing up as a boy, just so to not attract attention. I started dressing up as a boy. I remember I'd wear some baggy shorts. Yeah, I'd wear some baggy shorts, and then I'd wear a top. On top of that top, I'd wear a t-shirt and then a turtleneck. On top of that, I'd wear a jacket. Why? Because I did not want any man to see me and find me attractive. I feel like I was not ready for that kind of attention. And so, fast forward, this is where some tea really is in. So fast forward, when I became when I finished my schooling and tertiary kind of schooling. Well, before that, let's just talk about when I started dating. I started dating after my high school. And so the very first man I ever met, I ever dated, was very nice to me. But then it took me a very, very long time to accept to be in a private setting with him. Why? Because for starters, he was very suggestive. He wanted to do this thing. He wanted to sexually engage, and I wasn't ready. And so I remember I could not be in a private setting with him, and he kept on wondering, up until he tried pushing me one time, and then I realized, okay, I'm away from this person, but I'm missing them. So does it mean I love them? And so I could not. I was just scared. First of all, he noticed that I did not want him touching me. The farthest he could go was holding my hand, and then the best I could do is give him a side hug. I see people talking about side hugs. I saw people talking about side hugs later on, and they were like, side hugs are for best friends, are for friends, and when you're with your guy, you're supposed to give the guy's friends a side hug. And I was like, what? I've been doing this all along, but because I have a reason for doing it. And so the guy noticed that I did not like being touched, and he asked me, why don't you like being touched? And I explained it to him. I told him I feel some type of way when a man touches me, and I feel like it's like harassment because I don't like it. And I told him how I react when a man touches me without my consent. I told him every other time I had been touched by a stranger, be like past my palm, I always cried afterwards. And I told him that I had never been touched, and like I did not want a man to go past my palm. And he was very gentle with me, because I think one of the things that he did to make me comfortable was try and sort of understand me. And the fact that he understood that I did not like to be touched was sort of what made me comfortable around him. And so with time, and it actually took a very long time before even we ever kissed. Yes, like we sort of had not verbally communicated, but there was that chemistry, and we sort of knew this was going somewhere. Like we would be boyfriend, girlfriend, probably date. And personally, for me, I had said that if ever, no, here's the strange thing. In my mind, I never knew that the first man that you have sex with is not going to marry you. So in my head, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be my husband. Like I just had that fantasy in my mind. I did not know that there's that people go through heartbreaks and stuff like that. I did not, because with my siblings, their relationships had been very successful. And so I did not understand like the whole bit of heartbreak, sijui kugongewa, like all those kind of things. I did not know that. And so with this guy, it took us quite a while to like get things rolling. And so the fact that this man understood that I like my privacy, that I like to be heard, I like to be listened to, I like attention, I like to be shown love. When he did that, when he mastered that, that's when now the whole question of, getting closer, like we even like started being what's I ever called? Oh my God. We started like sort of being intimate. For example, we would like cuddle, watch a movie, and cook together, and think like it's these things that brought me closer to him. And when finally it came to like the whole issue of having sex, I did not have a problem with it. I'm this person who likes my body. I love my body very much, and I don't have like a self-image problem. I'm very confident with how I look. I'm confident with my height, with my weight, and my complexion, my hair, like anything that has to do with Nyambura. I'm very confident about that. But now, I want you to keep in mind that I have a fear of sexual relations. And so in my mind, before we even like go to like do the sex thing and stuff like that, I was always pushing this man away. And at one point I thought, okay, so I don't know if I should share this or not, but let me just share it. The very first time, like, well, this is my first guy, right? So with the very first time, what I did was I went to a pharmacy, and I bought some medication. And that was it. Just know that I bought some medication to make me feel, high, gather some confidence to do stuff like that. And yeah, and that's it. Later, now the following morning, I remember what can I really say? I was very ashamed. For starters, I woke up and I took my bath. I did not have a shower back then. I took a bath and then I got dressed and then I went off to work. I did not even talk to him. And at work I remember I was very tired. It's like I had been lifting loads at night. I was very tired at night. No, like the following morning I was very tired. I went to work. I slept at work. And I was also very moody. So it hit me later that I had actually had a sexual encounter, and I was trying to remember, like, what is it, like, what did I enjoy it, would I want to do it again? And in my mind I was like, nah, I'd never want to do that again. And for me, and even after this guy, I had like another boyfriend, because obviously, like, with the very first relationship, it never worked out. Oh my god, I never had like my dream wedding, children. Yeah, like, it never worked. I didn't get married. It's not a fairy tale. I didn't get married, and so with the next relationship, it also didn't go well. And here's how I perceive sex. And in one of my videos, I've also mentioned that in 2022 I became celibate. And the reason I became, not the main reason, but also one of the reasons why I became celibate, is because of genophobia. For me, sex means a lot. For me, sex is a sacrifice. For me, sex means I'm willing to feel ashamed. It means I'm willing to endure the pain that comes with sex. It means that I'm willing to go through a mental breakdown for you as a man. Sex for me means I have to put up with you. I have to put up with a man touching me and knowing so well that I don't like being touched, but I will tolerate it and let you do what you can with me, just because a part of me feels like I love you, but then I still don't feel safe. It still feels like I'm not, like, yes, I'm participating, but something is off. I'm not feeling, I feel like you're a stranger. I have to put up with the psychological torture, and I have to put up with the psychological trauma of being with a man. Now, at this moment, when I'm recording this video, I just remembered something. Also, growing up, I did not want to get married, because, like, when I went to high school, that's when I knew that a boyfriend and a girlfriend have sex. And what is sex? Sex for me back then, according to, like, how, well, when you're in high school, some of your friends are having sex, right? And so this is the information that I used to get from them. Some used to say that they feel so happy, like their boyfriends make them happy. But for me, it's not something that I was really idolizing. It's not. And unfortunately for me, sex is like a punishment to me. It is. And so you can, like, when I was growing up, I did not want to be a wife. When I knew that sex was part of being someone's girlfriend, wife, things like that, I did not want that. What I knew was that. So and so I decided to be someone else in the future. And so every time someone asked me, what do you want to be when you're like 20, or maybe like, what do you want to do in the future, I would tell them I want to be a Catholic nun. That's what I wanted to be, because of the fear that I had for sex. And let me just mention this, like, in African homes, sex is not a common topic. Sex is not something that we talk about more often. It's not a cup of tea. It's not. Sex is something that, even if you hear the word sex coming out of your mom's mouth, maybe she's drunk. It's not a common topic. It's not. And so, for me to have this fear of the unknown about sex, to date, still haunts me. And I mean, like, I don't refute, there are unknown fears regarding every other topic that we have. But this is like and especially the reason I'm talking about xenophobia in relation to women is because I don't know what xenophobia means for men. And let me just mention, you see, like, jokes that not even jokes. You see, like, when a post is put up about like a lady that was involved in a rape case, maybe by like 5-6 men. Do you know? Have you ever seen how men? Let me not say all men, but some men make a joke out of that, and they're always like, I wish tables turned, and I wish I was the guy and I had like 5-6 women raping me. And that is why, for me, like, I cannot speak about xenophobia and say anything about men, because I don't know how the world of men works. Yeah. However, I've come across young men that have actually been molested while they were children, and it's trauma in a way to them, but how it reflects to like their relationship lifestyle is, these people opt not to talk about these things. However, they just end up like heartbreaking women. That is one person I've met. Like, they can never have like a single girlfriend. The other way, like, it reflects in their current day life is one like the other person who had been man that had been molested as a child, they just like to end up with one partner. Do I judge? No, I don't judge. Why? Because I go through the same thing. I have to wake up every day. I don't hate men. I do love men. It's just that the whole issue of sex for me. Would I want to be married? Of course I'd want to be married. And also let me also like say that the other early this year I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were just having like a silly talk. We were just having like a stupid conversation. It's a guy, and then he was asking me, and then I was asking him. I think I triggered the conversation because I don't even know I did that. Well, I've seen him with a specific type of women, I've seen him with women that have big nyash. And so, on this one time, well, like women with big nyash and then dark skinned. Well, there are some that are light skinned, but the nyash is constant. And then there was something that was going on in his life. So I had seen him with a babe that did not fit the description of the rest of the women I see him with. And so I asked him, Bethe, what's your type? What do you like for in a woman? And then he was like, oh, me like nyash. As long as there's, oh, nyash is ass or bunda. So he said, I me like a big bunda. And I told him, oh, okay, that's really nice. And then I asked him, how would your ideal life partner look like? And then he went on describing. And then we got to like the matter. I realized that for him, the things that he was describing are too physical. And so I asked him, how about matters in the bedroom? Like, how about like mindset? What kind of a woman would you like? And he was like, ugh, I want a woman who's a freak in bed, a woman that is business oriented, a woman that is also like family oriented. And he was like, I just want someone that is quite supportive and someone that has a nyash. Like like the nyash is constant, like I asked him about the hair. Okay, well, long story short, he ended up asking me the kind of partner that I want. I said the conversation was silly, and one thing that shook him was he asked me like the kind of dick size I'd want in a man. And I told him, if anything, I would want a man whose libido is actually low. Yeah. And that's, I don't know if, I just told him I just want a man whose libido is low. And then I told him I want a man that, I don't know. I just want like, what can I say? I just don't want a man that is active like that. And so he actually made a joke and he told me, if you don't want a man that is active, don't date from this tribe or this tribe. And then he no, this is not to throw shade, but he actually said, if you want to date such a man, date from your own tribe. Okay, now that hurts. No. So and then I told him, maybe I'll just end up dating an older man. And he was like, oh my god, those are the worst. Those have like the highest libido, and those are actually like the ones that don't have anything to do. So all they do, maybe probably retired, so all they do is sex. Yeah. And so I told him, okay, I don't know. And then maybe like I don't want to date someone that has anything to prove while in the bedroom. I just want someone, even if you have like low libido, that's fine. I mean, like, it's a plus for me. And it's not as if I've had like bad experiences with sex to like lead me to this. No, I haven't had that. It's just that I just don't value sex that much. I just have this fear for it, and I don't know what exactly. Yeah. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. I thought I'd probably do like a 10 minutes video regarding this topic, but I feel like I've been talking for so long, and I feel like I do need professional help. I don't know. Oh my god. So I think I'll end this video here. Do let me know what you think about genophobia. Do you let me also mention something. I've also talked to I think about 3 women that are actually married, and they don't have a problem with sex in marriage. It's only that sex is weaponized in marriage most of the times. And so I didn't even know what to think about when we were talking about sex. And I mean, like, sex is not something that you just wake up one day and talk about. No, it's not. Yeah. I don't even know why I mentioned that, but anyway, thank you so much for watching me. To my international audience, I hope you do enjoy. If you do not understand English, or maybe some of the things that I said, or maybe the pronunciation, make sure you hit the CC button on your left side, on the low left side of your screen, and you will see some subtitles. I hope I was clear enough to discuss this. Do let me know what you think about this topic, and do you have like this phobia? Would you like to talk about it? Would you like to discuss it? And also, I would also like appreciate the views from men. If there's a man out there that has genophobia, reach out to me and we can do like a whole video about it. I can get to talk about genophobia from a lady's perspective, and you can get to talk about genophobia from a man's perspective. If you're a lady and you'd like to talk about genophobia, hit me up. My email is on the bio. Let me know what you think about this episode. Is there something that I left out? Do let me know. So that's it from me. I am GladysNyambura. I have been your cute host. Enjoy this episode, depending on the time that you will watch it at: morning, afternoon, evening, night. Have a lovely time. Merry Christmas from me. You are unscripted.